Every story has a beginning. It's been said that long before man walked the earth, there were those that came before. Unknowable beings and forces beyond our imagining. They brewed mirth and courage out of the stars themselves and held dominion over the very lands that we now call home. No one knows why they left or where they went, but they say on the longest nights the lonely mountains cast the shadows of those that came before. On one such night, from a past that we can now recall, the hills creaked and the streams forgot their song, and the Greenbrier Valley was cloaked in the twilight of the past. Though none can say what it was for sure, something came down from the hills that night. It flew on wings of shadow, the flame of eons spreading from its eyes, and it unleashed a great resounding din, cleaving cloud and sky, until at last the light of some faraway star blinked out in its wake. And as the star fell, so too fell the beast. Down, 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 smashing hard into the ground, igniting a perfect storm of earth and air. And when the dust finally settled, neither star nor specter remained. When the sun rose, the people gathered, and what they found they still can't explain. Truth is, we'll never know. Nature has a funny way of seeing these kinds of things through. Why, the whole site slid into the river and was washed away that very day. What I can tell you is that life's a story we all share. And folks in these parts have been getting their drinking water from that river all their lives. It's the same water we use here at GVB to brew our beer, which we think you'll agree is worth talking about. Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes for a hell of a story, doesn't it?
Since the beginning of time, mankind has told stories. Some are rooted in truth, some are rooted in myth and lore, and some stories, like the one of Greenbrier Valley Brewing, is rooted in a little bit of both. But stories are only stories as long as they continue to be told. So how do you take a brand whose name and imagery screams a local identity brewed in the foothills of West Virginia and elevate it onto a national stage? We started by analyzing the existing brand. We boiled down what made them a success at home to find what would make them a success in every home. Their unique selling point had always been their stories. One thing was for certain: figures of legend like West Virginia's Mothman not only inspired their beers, but resonated with the community around them. However, it wasn't local legends that would attract a national audience, but rather the art of storytelling. There are stories all around us, and this would be the beer brand to tell them all. It was this idea that would drive the brand's transformation. The next consideration was the name. We wanted to adopt a name that was easy to say and would not alienate any corner of the country, but would still pay homage to the region of West Virginia where it all began. Identifying the company by its initials, GVB, not only kept the company's heritage intact, but was also easy to say at the store or across the bar. But every beer has a catchy name. What would make this one different would be the values and personality that embodied the brand and guided its message. The brand values creativity and those who never settle for the status quo, because from those people come the best stories. The brand's personality guides the way it talks about itself and guides its communication with its audience. The brand is distinct, not eccentric, charismatic, but not cocky. astute, yet open-minded, and above all else, imaginative. We were asking a lot from this brand. GVB needed a logo that would represent everything it was and nothing that it was not. We researched storytelling to find its earliest instances in human history. From this search, our icon was born. Its intriguing and rustic look matched perfectly with the brand's personality. And from there, it was combined with a typeface that had a classic base with modern accents. Next, we created a color palette that combined core elements of the brand's personality. What's more is that these elements didn't just lend themselves to telling our story, but could easily be incorporated into the stories of the bars, restaurants, and distributors who work to make GVB available to everyone. GVB's partners would help them release one-of-a-kind brews, inspired by local folklore, to each region of the country. In order for craft beer connoisseurs to taste every beer, they would have to travel to each region and order one for themselves. It is in this way that we will begin rewriting the story of the thirsty traveler who walks into a bar and asks, "What beer do you have on tap?" Instead, the traveler will ask, "What GVB do you have on tap?" It doesn't matter where you are. GVB will be the local beer, ready to go with you wherever your story takes you.